Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today, this is a special request from Gupta, someone who commented on one of my live streams saying, "Hey, do you mind, using your, helping me understand the actual like tips and tricks of the Abyssal dungeon and stuff like that?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah. I mean, I pretty much knocked out the Abyssal dungeon in this case, and I'm ready for them to drop some more content for the game." Especially to continue it. But I could totally help you guys out understanding the game and stuff like that, and probably doing the best that you possibly can with the methods that I've used in the past. Now, there have been some cheese methods that did get patched out a while back, which I never used. So I'm just going to give it to you straight and pretty much give y'all as many tips as I possibly can while we discuss how to actually beat the Abyssal Wanderer every single time. So, first things first, whenever we actually start talking about the Abyssal, you want to know about the rewards. And this is a very, very important game mode. As you can see, once you actually level up, you get these points, which are made for continuing the game. But you also get currency, tickets, will chips, will tokens. All these things, once you keep leveling up, leveling up, leveling up, and you pretty much, once you max it out, you're going to be walking away with quite a bit of resources just by, maxing it out. So, the other rewards you could get are from the quests. They reset weekly. These quests are really, really easy to do, and they pretty much confirm you getting will chips and memory chips at that. So, exploration quests mostly have to do with actually knocking out and beating every single boss inside of the dungeon, because it is a pre-made, except for some cases with the mapping. The mapping's completely different, and so is the RNG. So, let's talk about tech and what it takes to actually beat the Abyssal Dungeon. Now, tech is more of a small boost. These things only boost your stats by like a little bit of an amount, but still they're nice to have. And once we actually do complete the entire tree, you'll see that we also get interruption boost and stuff like that, which is pretty huge. So it's just going to make life a lot easier. As you play, you're going to get more tech, which means if you want to get more tech points, you want to get more EXP, you got to do the highest floor that you possibly can. So, let's go ahead and talk about the collection. Now, the collection is actually level bound. As you can see, we have some things that are pretty interesting. Some cards, we'll start talking about these in a second. I just wanted to show you guys that over here, as you can see, some of the stuff is locked behind certain levels. We got level 60, level 50, level 40. Encyclopedia cards over here. We got 40, level 30, level 30, level 30. These more are just buffs that can actually level up your gameplay overall, and you'll never really have to worry about a lot of stuff in this game. So, right now, I'm going to have to do all the boring stuff now, which is just discussing the collection and exactly how we're going to do that part. But let's go ahead and dip into the characters first, of course. Now, every week the characters change. And the only buff that your characters can actually save whenever you have them from your roster is actually your potential. So, as you can see, I have pot 4 E-Iron, so my pot 4 E-Iron is going to stay here, and he's obviously going to keep all of his stuff here. And same thing with Lily here. She automatically already has that because I have it for all of them. And if a character is not owned, all that means is that you just don't have the potential to get their potential up and stuff like that. Everything else is just relative, such as stats and everything else like that. Stats will pretty much stay the same as base stats in the game, fixed stats at that, so you could pretty much use any character in this game without a problem, just like Hot Battle. Except the only issue is your RNG really freaking good? So, let's talk about collection, RNG, and everything as such. So, in this mode, you're going to be able to get two different types of cards. You're going to either be able to get normal cards or legendary cards. Legendary cards are few and far, but you can actually increase your chances at getting these cards either by completing bosses and getting yourself legendary cards through that way, or by defeating the wandering monsters, which is going to get you more of a chance. But you're going to have to take some type of debuff if you end up getting legendary cards, and I'll talk about those in a second as an example. But first things first, whenever you do decide to select these, we're just going to go ahead and talk about that stuff in game in a second. Um, a lot of these have to do with you pretty much reaching a certain point, and there's tons of different, spots where you have to like sit there and stop and be like, hey, what kind of build am I running for? Because there is a limited amount of slots in this game. So, with the limited amount of slots that you're given, you're only allowed to get the required amount based off your character's potential and based off the character in general. So, there's a limit to breaking on certain characters. As you know, some characters could go up to 5, SR characters could go up to 8, but only Genos and very, very specific SSR characters could get up to 8. So, same thing with First Strike, same thing with Bullet Time, uh, same thing with Brain Development. In a lot of these cases, these specific cards are really, really hard to use whenever it comes down to late game because of the fact that you might not be able to get as lucky. So you kind of want to aim towards one direction. Now, why I say that is totally because of certain cards being able to pivot off of other cards, such as, let's say you go with Serious Excitement, you get an excitement state, right? Well, you could match this with Serious Amplification, and now you could get more ultimates, so you could do 40% more damage all the time, which is really, really good. You can't get that in a normal game. Also, there are some very, very specific ones, such as Homostasis right here. Let's say you're going all into defense, then you would possibly want to go all into defense instead with Homostasis, and you could get the opposite of HP into Homostasis. So it's like you kind of just want to go one way or the other. You don't really want to, mess with like 20 different things at once. And also another thing is understanding your character. A lot of these characters have very specific stats, such as some benefit from Mind Reader, some benefit from Resolute Attack, some benefit from Predator. And, in some cases, it's better to get stuff like Brutal Crash, Bloody Sacrifice, Turn the Tables, Hunter Specialization. It just really depends on the character. Then there's different ones that just kind of like are really good to go for, such as Fear the Doom, Doom Penetration, and Doom Weakness. But that's like super situational, and if you get super lucky. So let's go ahead and dip into the first half. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about a lot of the beginning stuff. If you don't know how to play this, I do have another guide in my guides playlist. This is more of just tips and tricks that I would use. So another thing is, whenever you're actually doing this half of it, always take damage. Now, here, support characters, or such as your main character, so to speak, is actually going to be totally based off of what do you want to do. Because in a lot of cases, when the week rolls by, a lot of this does not roll in your favor. So it's either, you choose one or you choose the other. And it's really your choice, but don't worry about it too much because you're still going to be able to get other characters on this roster and still be able to replace these characters. I would just choose a character that you're totally comfortable using more than something that has high potential that you don't use. Because the whole objective is to stay alive in the beginning of the game and make sure you don't die. Now, a big tip for a lot of people that want to get into this game mode and do the best they possibly can is take as many houses with as little bosses. And that also counts with shops. Never take something that has 2 shops in a row. That's stupid. You're never going to have enough money. And on Lord 1 and 2, you could really mess around with these bosses. They're not too hard. But in Lord 3 and 4, you don't want to touch these boss points, or you don't want to touch them very often due to the fact that these bosses will freaking mess you up, and you have no chance. So, in this case, we're going to go down this route because I think it's the most applicable to me. So, easy creatures to kill, easy creatures to kill. Or if I want to go down the other route, that's also fine too, because easy creatures to kill, monetary gain, house to do affixes, shop to stop by, or I could do double boss. Now, in this specific instance, I would actually do double boss. Why would I do double boss? Because in Lord 1 and Lord 2, they're way too weak to actually give you a lot of trouble. And really, it's entirely skill-based at that point. So what I'm going to end up taking instead is bottom row, these points, because these points can give you really, really good chances. That's what I'm saying. This one is decent. This allows you to actually level up your specific affix cards. Bosses for money. Do another affixing. One more little creature, and then we'll go straight to the boss after spending some of the money that we have at the left at the end. Now, with a lot of cases, whenever you actually, I'll pick up some examples. I'll beat a little bit of it, and then we'll dip back into the video right now. I'm just going to go ahead into get to the boss and show you what I would do right at the end before doing the shop stuff. All right, let's go. All right, since we actually have the exploration rewards, there's two types of exploration rewards that we're actually going to be able to pick up. Either they'll be all golden, normally after you defeat the Abyssal boss for lords, or they'll be like this. So in these cases, you do want to take into consideration multiple things, such as what kind of character am I running? So obviously, I'm running a character that benefits from resolute attack, resolute defense. But homostasis also is really, really nice as a benefit. What am I going to need more of? What am I going to need less of? Another thing that's going to take into consideration for you is what are you going to run into as you go through. So, persistent scrolls, love letters, eternal relics. These are completely random. These are the hardest things to balance. And these are things that you just need to take into consideration whenever you actually do this stuff, because you never know what you're actually going to end up getting. Because over here, after all characters gain an additional 500% HP. I mean 500 HP with a base and 100% base additional defense every time they meet a peaceful adventurer. Now, this is really nice if you're going to run into a bunch of random adventurers in the question mark stages, but we don't. This won't benefit us in the early game due to the fact that these specific types will lead us to not being able to benefit our future companions. So in this case, I'm actually going to take Resolute Defense in order to actually get this HP that I could benefit through all my other future characters. Now, the actual monsters here, this is another good one. Another good tip right here. Only take this if you're already like gonna if you know you're not gonna fight anything, or take this if you know that you're gonna be completely fine. But in this case, I'm actually gonna take this due to the fact that Resolute Attack super benefits my character over any other character. All right, now we're gonna go into a Sanctuary. Sanctuaries are incredibly important. I would never rest in a Sanctuary, and I would always pick up my teammates here. All right, so, oh, that's weird. All right, we're going to do this, and we're going to do Resolute Defense. As you can see, knowing your character is the best thing you could possibly do. As you can see over here, get bonus damage every single time you trigger a negative crit. So, a negative crit, as you know, gains passive defense, so you can pretty much stay in the battle for the longest out of anybody else. So, let's go ahead and pop Enhance Resolute Attack, because as you can see down here, you also need to pay attention to your memory bonuses and how much memory bonus you could possibly get. So over here, I'm going to be taking Resolute Defense and Resolute Attack. I'm going to need one more Resolute Attack and then another Resolute Defense. Okay, so right there, the game bugged out. As you know, I was supposed to have 200 money, but I guess the game decided to not give me that 200 money because I clicked on it in a Sanctuary. You just got to be careful. If there is a bug, always report it. Why am I fighting this guy on camera? Because I can. Honestly, it's all about knowing your characters. And I've been practicing with this dude since like stage 5. He is going to be a lot harder though, due to the fact that I should have already had like, been at that point where I could actually have 2 teammates and actually be able to stay alive longer. But as of this moment, it's not very applicable. All right, I'll see you guys after this fight. Because this is obviously going to take me a little bit. All right, so, what do you call it? We did just beat the boss right now, so obviously, like, it wasn't too hard. I'm totally not going to die right now. But let's go ahead and dip into what does legendaries look like. And this is what legendaries actually look like. Now, you could possibly get the legendaries from these bosses. The only issue is you're not going to get guaranteed legendaries on both of the cards that you're going to be able to pick out. So you're only going to be able to get it based off of one. So one of the best ones to actually go for is to always go for one extra affix. This is just like amazing. Either that or go for the Dark Essence. But obviously, I want affixes because we're going to be stopping by as many houses as possible, and that's the objective. So let's go ahead and take Spectral Remains and this. And let's go ahead and pop this. And let's get a teammate. Now we're actually going to switch the gameplay up, and we're going to go for Silverfang. Because obviously I almost died doing that. So, we do still want to fight this boss. We do want to make the money. We don't want to like miss out. So, I'll see you guys after we get to the next to the final area. We beat the first Abyssal Lord. To now we did lose Smile Man, but that's okay. Now, this is what I was talking about with the nest monsters. Like the final lords normally give out nothing but legendaries. So over here, one of the more important things to always get for your characters is brain development. Brain development is the number one thing to always get. You always want it on every character. You never want to skip out on it. You always want to affix it because you always want to make sure that your characters are fighting at their highest potential. And that even counts for characters that you don't have. So I'm going to go bottom row because that's the only one that has two houses and a bunch of easy stuff to kill. All right, so let's go ahead and decide on team. Now, team configuration is totally up to you, but it's always preferred to have more supports than anything while you use your main. In this case, I'm actually going to be using Blizzard Tatsumaki E-Iron and Silverfang my main. Now, when Silverfang's taking the full brunt of the damage, they're going to be doing all the other work, which is just doing as much damage as possible. So, that's pretty much it, though. Like, team building and everything else, this is just pretty much as easy as pie. There's not much to go with after that besides focusing on your main build and making sure that you understand the fundamentals of each character. And after that, you pretty much have a piece of cake, a really, really good team. And just make sure that you always, focus on keeping them healed up and stuff like that, and you should be fine. It's just like taking care of a Nintendo or just like a Tamagotchi. So, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell down below. Peace out.